Willkommen auf der Hinterbühne, dem Podcast des Theaters und Orchesters Heidelberg. Diesmal zum 41. Heidelberger Stückemarkt. In 9 Folgen hört ihr die nominierten AutorInnen des deutschsprachigen und des internationalen AutorInnen-Wettbewerbs. Im Gespräch mit den DramaturgInnen und dem Presseteam des Festivals erfahrt ihr mehr über die nominierten Stücke. Hello Maria and hello Alex. Nice to see you.
Hi.
Nice to see you in this virtual room, and nice that we can talk about your play, Alex, nominated for the International Playwrights Award at Heidelberger Stückemarkt. The title of your play in the German translation is Wer klopft, which would be Who's Knocking in English, I guess. And before we will speak about your play in detail, I would like to start off with a more general question. Could you maybe for the beginning mention one thing or tell us about one thing you think that characterizes theater in Georgia today? I'm sure there's a lot more, but if you would just have to think of one thing, what would it be?
I don't know in general, but personally for me, maybe special about theater scene in Georgia is new generation that is trying to change the situation, because today Georgian theater is closer to a museum than to the living process for which we love theater. So that is.
You mean it's closer to the museum than to everyday life?
Yeah, everyday life. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that your play and what we will see in Heidelberg is part of this new generation.
Yeah.
Which we're very curious of. Thank you. And with this, I will pass on to you, Maria.
Yeah, I was thinking actually that this being close to life is really an impression that I had when reading Wer klopft for the first time. Can you tell me, how was the play created, and has it already been performed in Georgia?
Yeah, okay. It's a pleasure to chat with you. And this is my first children's play. And it started 6 years ago when we had a child. And we decided to create picture books for him, me and my partner. My partner is illustrator. So, for example, even classic books were not translated and published in Georgian. For example, Boris Sendak or Tommy Ungerer or Eric Carle. So we decided to create picture books. Now my son is 6 years old, and we have 6 published picture books. So at this time, I was decided to writing a children's play too. Until then, I only wrote for adults. I have 7 or 8 plays, maybe, and staged in several cities in Georgia. So every new play makes me a beginner, and especially in case of this children's play, because before I started writing, I started reading theory, how do you write a children's play, or what's the difference, and but what helped me the most is that I started drama workshops for kids and creative writing workshops for kids and teens. So in short, this is how I started writing plays for children. And this play has been performed in Georgia, but I was not happy with those productions. So
that means you did not put it on stage yourself, but someone else did, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it waits for new restaging also, maybe in a German context. And how would you describe the plot of your play?
Okay, this play has very simple plot, and for the first play, I focused less on complex plot and more on creating situations that would engage children and allow me to address issues that concern them. And the plot is revolves around children discovering that a panda living inside their TV who voices everything, and polar bear in their fridge refrigerator, and these animals' working conditions are just as difficult as those of the children's parents. Their mother is a cleaner and father is a taxi driver. It's a hot summer filled with construction dust and noise, and children want to leave the city, but their parent can't afford it. So this idea, and I try to focus on fun, maybe ecology, solidarity.
Yeah, I must say we all laughed a lot about the panda from the TV, and of course it's fun to have this polar bear in the refrigerator. But then, as you mentioned, the problems that the children, Lily and Nico, these two siblings, have to deal with are quite strong. Like, I had the feeling the world outside them is fierce. There's economical issues, climate change issues, and somehow these two children seem to be the two human beings that really have vision for a better life, and their parents are just too exhausted or too busy with coping with their daily lives. And in the end, actually, I had the feeling the resolution happens quite quickly on purpose, because there's like this magic TV lottery, and suddenly these animals could help the children to have at least enough money to go to the country with their parents, which is now a bit of a spoiler, but anyways. And what I totally liked is when one of the children asks the panda, "Is that magic?" The panda says, "Well, it's expropriation." And I had to translate that. Expropriation means Enteignung. And there I thought, ooh, that's quite a political punchline. How does this punchline about expropriation work in Georgia? Or what was the idea behind that?
Yeah, the idea of this panda said that expropriation is when you have bamboo and you can share it. So my main goal was to help children recognize themselves and the issues that trouble them. For example, kids often feel ashamed of being living in poverty. They might think it's their fault, because I remember I'm coming from a working class family myself, so I remember feeling embarrassed about not having enough money. So, for example, we did not have English lessons in the school, but my other friends went to private tutor, but I could not afford one, so I told myself that I did not even need English, so I never bothered learning it. So it's very challenge is talking about tough stuff in a simple way, and in a way that's clear and easy for kids to understand. So what does awkward mean? The panda replies that awkward is when you have bamboo and don't give it to the panda and you hide it. So what's expropriation means? When you share bamboo. So that is.
And this panda is quite political in a way. In one moment, he reads the red book, the Mao Bible, and says, "I have to cry in its dramatic passages." which I found quite funny and very like having two layers, one for the children and one also for the adult listeners, I thought, because like knowing about the Red Book and all, has like a double entendre, I think, or double meaning is the word. And at the beginning, he sings a song and accompanies himself with the panduri, which seems to be a Georgian instrument, as the text tells me. And it's a very lyrical song that he sings. How did this lyrical passage find its way into the text?
Yeah, okay, but maybe it's translation, the problem in translation, because the panda is not reading Mao's Red Book. I mean that he read the book, read the list of threatened species, because it's said so. But I like the idea of having the panda read Mao's Bible. It's brilliant idea. So after that, maybe I will change. And after reading the Mao's book, he can speak about cultural revolution. I like this idea. Thank you. And what about this song and lyrics? It does not have a direct connection to the play, but sunken ship is more of a symbol of the world we live in. The ship may be sunk, but we continue with our daily rituals. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I must say I'd be really interested in seeing a real life production of the whole thing and finding out about children's reactions. Is your son your lecturer in this? Is he like involved in the writing process a bit?
No.
And as an author, what interests you for when writing for young audiences? I mean, you spoke about this a little bit, but at the moment, I cannot yet imagine how theater for young people is organized in Georgia. Are there contemporary plays? Are there companies who do produce theater for children? And if so, what kind of stories are they telling? Could you describe that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. But I will read a small letter, the answer to this question. This is, Dear Alex, as a theater artistic director, I have decided to commission a play from you. I met with the children and I was interested in what was bothering them, so I listened to them, and they have a lot of problems, as you can see. In the words of one of them, children are like walking through unmarked snow. I want you to write a play that addresses their problems directly, let's say about school and attitude of their elders. Most importantly, this should not be just beautiful theatrical performance, fancy performance. After watching this performance, we want the teachers and parents to reflect on their own behavior and analyze it. And the children should feel that they have the power to change what they don't like. I believe you can do this, and I hope you will not disappoint me, sincerely. This is not actually a letter from an artistic director. This is a letter from a 12-year-old girl who wrote this letter for me at one of the drama workshops. So I think this is why I like to do plays for kids. And what about children's theater in Georgia? There is a two-state theater, one puppet theater, and repertoire is mainly commercial and infantile fairy tales. So looking at my son, I saw that children ask the same profound questions as great philosophers. So they want to know about life and death and about what it means to be human, or about war. And there are expectations also in opposite direction, maybe. For example, there is one German actress, Maria Schneider, who created a theater group in Georgia years ago, Aizona. And 9 years ago, there was Volker Ludwig came to Georgia from Grips Theater, and I first learned about the Grips Theater, and I think it's very valuable and interesting experience for us in Georgia. So Aizona staged 2 plays by Volker, and 1 year ago I also wrote a play for them, and we had an online workshop with Volker and Grips Theater dramaturgs. So I think it was very good experience and very helpful. So I believe that the stories they have power to change people, and even in the theater, especially when we talk about kids and children and young adults. Theater has a very strong educational potential. So I think that in a country like Georgia, where inequality and poverty, and we don't have the luxury to build fancy productions. And so I think, for example, a year ago, along with my friends, we made a 6 months workshop for kids, for the students from public schools, and they wrote a play about free meals in schools, because according to statistics, 77% of children say that they are hungry at schools, and maybe 20% live in extreme poverty. So there we must do plays about this situation. I think that is.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are really looking forward to get into a more profound exchange between you and theater makers from throughout Germany that can come to the festival. Thanks a lot, Alex.
Thank you very much. And see you soon in Heidelberg. Thank you for this insight in your play and your writing.
Thank you very much.
Die Lesungen der Stücke könnt ihr live im Zwinger 3 am 27. und 28. April sowie am 4. Mai oder aber im Stream über unsere Website erleben.